Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people.
Hello, and welcome back to Daily Curiosity. I'm Carl.
And I'm Jane. Carl, do you consider yourself a moral person?
I think yes. I say thank you, I always give my seat to someone older than me on the bus, and I even once returned a wallet with all the cash still inside.
Wow, what a righteous person you are. But what if I told you that science says you're probably not as moral as you think?
You want to say that I might not be the ethical hero of my own story?
Of course you might be, but research suggests we tend to overestimate ourselves when it comes to our own morality. Most of us believe we're ethical, fair, and principled, but our behavior tells a very different story.
So you're saying we feel moral, but we don't always act morally.
Yes, and that's exactly what we will discuss in today's episode of Daily Curiosity.
Well, now you've got my attention. Let's dive in.
Philosophers have often asked people how they would act in a given situation, when lives are on the line, but it is hard to test what they would do in real life. Now, thanks to virtual reality, we can now run experiments that test what people will actually do in life and death situations. And it often turns out that what people say doesn't match up with what they actually do.
You're talking about the famous trolley problem, right?
Exactly. It's a well-known moral dilemma that asks people to choose between two bad outcomes. The scenario begins with a runaway trolley that is on course to kill 5 railway workers who are stuck on the tracks. You can change its direction by flipping a switch, which would kill only 1 railway worker on an alternative track, but save the other 5. Is it morally acceptable to flip the switch? Most people say yes.
I think doing so makes sense because the math here is simple, 1 life versus 5.
But it gets complicated when you change the scenario to the footbridge. In this version of the experiment, you're standing on a bridge above the tracks next to a stranger.
Let me guess. This time you cannot simply flip a switch.
Exactly. The only way to stop the trolley is to push the man off the bridge, using his body to block it, saving the same 5 workers below.
And suddenly that easy moral math doesn't feel so easy anymore.
You're right. Even though the outcome is identical, 1 life lost, 5 lives saved, most people say pushing the man is morally unacceptable. But here is the twist. When scientists put 100 people into a VR simulation of that exact scene, they didn't do what they said they would.
Wait, did they actually push him?
Consider your own response. The trolley is approaching, it is getting out of control, there's a horn beeping, 5 railway workers screaming, and a man right in front of you. Do you push him? Most of them did. Even though they were deeply affected by the situation and regretted it afterwards, they still acted against their own stated morals.
That's terrifying. It makes us look like hypocrites. Is this just a fluke in the virtual reality lab?
Not at all. It seems to reflect a core part of human nature. Look at the Milgram experiment from 1963. Participants were willing to inflict lethal electric shocks on others just because an authority figure told them to.
And I bet none of those people reported they would act that way on a questionnaire beforehand.
None of them. We also see it in the Zimbardo prison study, where ordinary students became aggressive towards their peers when given the role of a prison guard.
So the big question is, who is the real us? Is it the person who answers the moral questionnaire, or the person who pushes the man in the heat of the moment?
Researchers are still working on that answer. Until we have a better empirical understanding of our moral intuition, we might need to look at how people behave before we believe what they say.
A thought that makes us pause as we're about to finish. Well, let's break down the key vocabulary from today's moral dilemma.
Firstly, the word moral. It's an adjective that describes what's right or wrong in human behavior. For example, helping someone in need is often seen as a moral choice.
Next, dilemma. That's when you have to choose between 2 or more options, usually with no perfect solution. Like the trolley problem, we're stuck choosing between harming 1 person or 5.
Then there's an expression we used in today's episode, a life and death situation. This describes a scenario where someone's life is at risk. In the trolley problem, the workers on the track are in a life-and-death situation.
How about to act against one's own morals or principles? This means doing something you believe is wrong or goes against your values. For example, if someone promises to always tell the truth but lies to get out of trouble, they're acting against their own morals.
Finally, a hypocrite. This is a noun for people who say one thing but do the opposite. For instance, someone who teaches honesty but deceives other people is a true hypocrite.
And that wraps up our vocabulary for today's moral dilemma. Thanks for joining us on Daily Curiosity.
Stay curious, and remember, our actions often reveal more about us than our words do.
So it means our actions speak louder than our words?
You are right as always, Carl. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people.